Now, values are defined as those long-lasting beliefs that represent what the organization considers to be important. They define what is right or wrong, good or bad. Almost every organization has what we call core values. And these are supposed to represent what we believe in as an organization. They're supposed to represent what we hold dear. They also define what is right, wrong, good, or bad within organizations, and therefore the organizational members are supposed to live by these values. For that to happen, there must be shared value among the organizational members, because every one of us comes into an organization with our own personal values, things that we hold dear, things that we believe in, ways that we do our work, how we interact with people, how we look at our things, our worldview that has been shaped perhaps by our experiences or our backgrounds. But when we come into an organizational setting, for us to be able to succeed, we must have a shared value in terms of how we work together as a team and as members of that organization. These shared values then become very important in guiding how any organization therefore operates. Now, I've talked about core values. There are two sets of values that you'll find in an organization. They are what we call the espoused values. These are the desired values. Then there are enacted values. Enacted values are the values that are in use. Now, there is always a dichotomy. There is always a struggle between the espoused values and the enacted values, the values that we believe in and the values that we live by. And I think Paul brings out this struggle very well in Romans chapter 7, from verse 15 to 19. And basically what he says there, that I find a law working within me, that the good that I know I should do is not what I do. But the evil that I know I should not do, that is what I find myself doing. And he says, this is a struggle in me, how I do not live by what I know is right. And I'm sure many of us can testify of that. You know what is right to do, but you end up doing the opposite. You know that this is not right to do, but that is what you end up doing. And this struggle is given to us in Romans chapter 7. If you read it, it is so practical, it is so real. And Paul cries out and says, wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death? This struggle that I have within me. And many of us can testify that we have that struggle. It is not that we don't know what the right thing to do. It is not that we do not know that this is wrong and should not be done. But somehow we end up doing the wrong that we know we should not do, and we fail to do the right which we are supposed to do. So this struggle then comes into the organizational setting where the espoused values, which I call values on the wall, the espoused values remain hanging on the wall, beautifully framed. If you go to many houses, or not houses, but offices, you will see these core values nicely framed, hanging at the reception area, hanging in the CEO's office, and hanging in many other offices. These are our values. The espoused values establish the public image desired by corporate leaders. Espoused values, however, do not represent the actual culture of an organization. So you'll find, for example, an organization, one of them, which is very common among in core values, is excellence. And so we say one of our core values is excellence. But then when you see how they deliver services, when you see the kind of goods that they give to you, and you look at the kind of services they offer to you, how they treat their customers, and you wonder, where is the excellence in this? Because this was a desire. This is something that we put out there for people to see, but somehow we end up not doing it. Then there's what I call values in the heart, the enacted values. Values in the heart are the values that are actually in practice or being used in the workplace. When you go to an organization and you see how they treat customers, you see how the kind of quality they give in their products, it tells you that is their value proposition. It is not what is hanging on the wall, it is what they are giving you, how they are treating you, and all that. Tell you this is how much we value you. So enacted values guide individual behavior and decisions in the workplace, especially in times of crisis. Crisis tends to bring out the worst or the best in us. Because in crisis time, people forget about acting. People become real. And it is at that point when you will know what kind of values are guiding organizational members within a context, within an organization, within an institution, within a home. When crisis comes, the enacted values, the values in the heart, then come out, they pop out immediately. For leaders, when we get into the space of enacted values versus espoused values, there is what we call, or what I call, leadership dissonance. Leadership dissonance leads to a serious lack of authenticity. Why? Because the convictions and the practice are completely different. Like we would say in biblical language and theological language, the orthodoxy and the orthopraxis are totally different. What we believe and what we actually do are totally different. So this leadership dissonance comes or occurs when there is a dichotomy between personal conviction and actual behavior. I believe that I should drink water only, but in practice, I take a glass of wine. When I'm with people, I take water. When I am alone, I take wine. Peter, because we are in a Christian context in ELNET, I could use more biblical examples. The Apostle Peter found himself in this kind of a situation where his conviction and his behavior were at dissonance. Peter had been put into that place where Jesus revealed to him that even though the Jews had previously looked down upon and the gospel was purely for the Jews, the religion was for the Jews. But now, under the new gospel, the New Testament, everybody had been brought in, even the Gentiles. So Peter found himself, when he was in public with other Jews, he separated himself from the Gentiles. But when he was alone, he was quite happy to embrace the Gentiles. That is what we call a leadership dissonance, when your beliefs and your behavior are at cross purpose. There's a dichotomy in there.